Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. I'm Jennings Bernard, your host. As always, you can catch me right here on Facebook Live each and every day, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. We really do appreciate you if you tune in and be a part of us. Tell your friend to tell their friend that Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil is on the air. We got a lot to talk about. You know what we do here. We talk business, legal, social, whatever affects you, we will talk about it right here. But we talk politics, a whole lot of it, because politics is everything, and everything is politics. Yes, tell your friend that we got something to talk about and show you how everything works for the good or not good for the people in the city of Memphis. And we have a lot of things that are not good for us when it comes down to the politician that we elect in office. But we got a lot to talk about, and I definitely want you to be a part of it. I'm excited about what we are doing here. Got some new features that I'll be sharing with you today as to what's going on uh, in this world that we call Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. And it's going to benefit you. It's going to bring you the information that you need to know and what's going on in the city from business, legal, politics. And boy, I say it again, politics is everything, and everything is politics. The Good Old Boy Network, we talk about that as well. We talk about the abuse of power when it comes to politicians and politics. You know it's out there. They do things and don't even ask you before they do it. They just say, hey, you put me in this office, I'm going to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how I want to do it. Well, we got to stop them from doing that. We got to stop them and let them know you do what we tell you to do and nothing else other than the fact that day-to-day operation. But when you finna make a big purchase of 22 point some $1 million, I think you do not have that power, which you may think you have. But the city council is supposed to look at it administratively and then tell you, hey, hold, put on the brakes or whatever, but you're the administrator. You bring it down, and you hit wink and you bamboozle and you run amok over these individuals. Well, we're going to talk about Gail Jones Carson and her son Brian Carson. And we're going to point some things out. Some of you may agree, and some of you may say, well, hey, I agree with what she did. And I disagree uh, in regard to her being behind the scene. And if you talk about politics in Memphis, Tennessee, you got a whole lot of people that will be able to tell you, hey, I know who she is. She's very political. But politics is good to a point, but when you somehow can manipulate it to save your son from which your son, Brian Carson, has done something wrong, where your son or my son, same thing, they were they would be in jail, put it like that, manipulating the board of the local Democratic Party when my sources tell me that we was ready to have him sent to jail and arrested. The power that be, the influence came in and cut a deal. We're gonna talk about that. And when I come back, hey, I will be ready to go. And I look forward to you being a part of it. We got some new things going on here for you. And we'll be right back and let's get into it. Go call your friends and tell them, hey, it's time for Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. And when we come back, we'll tell you something that we want you to do. Well, be a short break. We'll be right back. all right. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are glad to have you with us again. Welcome back. Hey, I'm Jennings Bernard, and we really do appreciate you being here. But there's some things I want you to do for me. As always, I want you to subscribe to this program. Go down to the subscribe button, and you subscribe to uh, the program. Uh, Subscribe to it. Tell your friends to subscribe to it because we're bringing you the information that you need to know, and we want you to subscribe to it. And then when you do that, we want you to go over to the MemphisRealTalk.com, MemphisRealTalk.com, and go over and look at the different things on the website that we are building for you to be able to enjoy and get information as to what's going on in the city of Memphis. We're just beginning. We're just beginning. I got a great team here, stepped in and stepped up, and bringing you some things that I'll be doing just in a few minutes to show you what we got going on and what we're going to do in the future. So when you go to Memphis Real Talk, that's one word, Memphis Real Talk. That's one word. And you go on and put the .com on it, and you'll be right there at it, MemphisRealTalk.com. And while you're there, I want you to go, sir, please, please, ma'am, to go down and just hit the donation page. Donation is not too small or too large. Just whatever you want to give will be fine so we can keep doing and pushing what we are doing here for you to make a difference in our community. Again, as always, I do want to thank an individual that sent me a video of a Memphis mother and her son thanking the National Guard for being here in the city of Memphis. And I was very moved and very touched by the young man who said that he's able to go outside and be able to play with his trumpet and learn the trumpet. And the mother stated how nice it is where she used to could not sit on the porch and drink her tea, but now she can go and sit on the porch and drink her tea. Her son could go in the back and play his trumpet, and the community was encouraging him and asking him to keep playing, because evidently he's very gifted. But you got this tranquility of being able to just sit back for the most part. But Memphis still got crime. But for the most part, people are feeling relaxed going to the store when they have to go get some gas when they have to. It is a difference. And I keep telling you, I'm going to do it every day. I tell you every day, I'm going to thank them, all the law enforcement, from the Memphis PD to the Sheriff Department to the FBI to U.S. Marshals to Highway Patrolmen, TBI, all of them wrapped up into one that are providing safety for you. Now, a lot of people want to say, hey, what will happen when they're gone? Well, see, that's what we pay you for as elected official. It's your job to figure out what's going to happen once they are gone. And see, you don't think outside the box. That's when I say we need to remove some of these people that are in position just for a paycheck. And that's what we got. When you are an elected official and you get on TV and you say to the community of Memphis and to the world in some case, when they carry it on to a national scene, you sitting up there saying, well, what's going to happen when they leave? For you to ask a question, to you to make a statement like that, that says to me that we couldn't get it right because we did not get it right when we put you in office for you to ask those questions. So I would say to you, humbly, respectfully, when you hear politicians saying, what are we going to do when they leave? That ain't the person you vote for. That ain't the person you waste your time giving your vote away to him or her because they don't know what to do. Somewhere right now, they need to be sitting down, gathering at the table of knowledge and understanding and saying, this is what we got to do. Because we look like boo boo the fool right now. That the National Guard came in and did what we couldn't do as leaders who have been elected to take care of the people in Memphis. So time is up. Time is over for the non-thinker, the non-doer. Those individuals has to go because if not, our children will be suffering the same thing that we are going through because of poor leadership, past and present. We are in this position that we're in now. So the foolishness is over. It's time for us to step up to the plate and say, enough is enough. I've taken all I'm going to take, and I'm not going to take it anymore. And I'm going to show you that I'm not going to take it. Because come 2026, I can show you better than I can tell you. And that's something my grandmother and mother used to say when I used to ask a question that shouldn't have asked. They would say, I'll show you better than I can tell you. So I knew when they said that, they meant business. So what you have to do as individuals who put people in the office, when they don't believe you, you need to say, I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. And this political power and nonsense that is going on in the community, we're going to talk about it. The number is 901 uh, 885-7779. Again, 901-288-5779. You can feel free to give us a call, or you can just call, uh, text us by way of making comments. Got to move this computer out of the way so I can see the comments as they come up and be able to talk to you about some of the things that are going on in this community. And we'll do that as well. But I want to take this opportunity to talk to you about an individual, uh, Gail Jones Carson, and her son. Uh, we want to definitely let you know, in my opinion, this as a citizen of this community, I have the right to my opinion. You have the right to your opinion. And I just don't think that we need to continue to sit back and do nothing as it relates to what we see, whether it be the powers that be or whether it be the elected official. At some point, we have to step up to the plate and say, hey, we gonna take all we gonna take when it comes to these politicians, and we're not going to take it anymore. And if you do that, then only then will you make a difference. We're going to talk about Gail Jones Carson. That she is right there on the screen with her son, Brian Carson. And we're going to talk about, give you a little history on Miss Carson and give you a little history on her son. We're going to talk about, you know, Brian Carson. Let's talk about him for a moment. Brian Carson, as I did my research and got receipts on him, you know, he was the former chairman of the Democratic Party. He misappropriated funds to the tune of $26,000 as it reported. Some say 25, some say 26, but I got my um, sources who have told me about this situation, who served on the committee at the time this fraud and theft was done and perpetrated, not only against the Democratic Party, it was a part of disrespect to you because if you're a Democrat and an individual like Brian Carson, you see on the screen with his mother, Gail Jones Carson, if you see these individuals here, or this individual, Brian Carson, who was the chairman, who deceived and basically, in my opinion, robbed the Shelby County Democratic Party of their money. Now, I'm going to talk to you in regard to how he pretty much walked away without paying anything but restitution. And I really have a problem with that because I think that people who do the crime should do the time. And I want you to give me your opinion and tell me whether you think I'm right, whether you think I'm wrong. But I told you about this. This young man went from being the Chevy County Democratic Party chair to taking money from them and not having to pay the price that your son or my son, your daughter or my daughter, if I had one, would have to pay the price. So what do they say to you as a parent and as an individual who always come back to depend on mama to pull you out of the mess that you got yourself into? Now, I don't believe mama had anything to do with the misappropriation of the fund. That was done all by Brian Carter. And see, when I see that and think about all of the other people, ladies and gentlemen, that would have loved to have the opportunity to be in the chair and would have respected the chair, would have made sure that they build the Democratic Party. But he was more, Brian Carter, interested in himself, being a big shot and a big shot caller and baller, as you would say, in my opinion, that he sit down at the Peabody. You know, he ordered stuff at the Peabody and just had a good time. And ain't no telling what else he did to prove that he was a big shot caller and took $26,000 from you. If you are a Democrat, he took it from you. If you are part of this citizen of this community, he took it from you, whether you independent, Democrat, or Republican. If you are part of this city and you are a taxpayer as it relates to the people who donated their money to the Democratic Party, he took from you. But yet, I want y'all to follow me on this journey. So you know who Brian Carson is. You know that after taking the money, he became a part of the executive committee of the Democratic Party, had a seat in Nashville after doing the bad behavior, according to my sources. And after you had forgotten about him for a period of time, then he came back. He ran for a vacant seat but lost to Berlin Boyd. Then he went and got on the executive committee that you put him on there. And from that, he comes back. And then you turn around by electing individuals and by the power that his mother has. And I'm going to tell you about her, how she ended up doing and getting the power that she got. And we definitely want you to look at this picture again. If you don't know who Brian Carson is, there he is right there. If you don't know who his mother is, Gail Jones Carson, there she is right there. And but we want to make sure you understand it. And this is the type of thing when I say that it's about telling the truth and shaming the devil. This is what we are going to continue to talk about because it's time out for the foolishness that we have going on in Memphis. It's time for us to wake up and simply say to us, hey, what are we going to do? Let's talk about Gail Jones Carson that was in the picture. That is Brian Carson. She's very political. And y'all walk with me on this journey as I describe who Gail Jones Carson is. She was the administrative assistant to past mayor Willie Harrington. She was administrative assistant to him for many years. I used to see her with him on speaking engagements that was at 201 Poplar and other places. She was right there, uh, getting her scraps, uh, following Willie Hamilton, taking care of what he needed to, as mayor uh, to take care of. It could have been appointments, meetings, or wherever she earned her stripes as it relates to being his administrative assistant. But after so many years of being his administrative assistant, uh, got enough time, probably 12 years at that time, that you could work for the city of Memphis and just have 12 years to get 80% of retirement. I don't know if they still do that because the powers that be realized that too many black people was ending up under Willie Harrison administration, getting the 12 years in and walk away with 80% of retirement. Now she walked away and went down to, and pay attention, went down to the Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. Became director or assistant director of communication. And where she was then, she had the power to be able to late good friend of mine, is no longer with us, who used to tell me how she really influenced herself, put herself in the position to know information, know people, to spread out her connection politically. She was able to uh, influence people to go with her in certain decisions that she made as it relates to who she was going to back politically. So you had all of those people at Memphis Light, Gas, and Water knowing her from administrative position with Willie Harrington all the way down to now the light, gas, and water. See, if you're in a communication position, you have the opportunity to communicate to the public. You have the opportunity to influence the public by the position that you hold. Whether you realize it or not, everybody who is an elected official has some kind of influence because even if it is nothing but influence over their district that they represent, they have people that look up to them and think they are special, but they're just an individual that's been elected to a position that know how to manipulate and know how to use the position and the power that they have gotten to hoodwink you, to bamboozle you, and to run amok over you and get you hook, line, and sinker to thinking the way they do. And here Joan Carson was good at it because from fraternity uh, to sororities, the influence that she had. Now, the problem I have with that is that when your son fraudulently robbed and steal from the Democratic Party of Shelby County, and your influence, Gail Jones Carson, behind the scenes, follow me now, according to my sources, when the Democratic Party wanted to criminally charge or have him arrested, Brian Carson, for taking the money behind the scenes, the influence of his mother got the party to just say to him or them to pay the restitution. Now, to this day, I don't know if the restitution has been paid. It may have been paid. But follow me as to what is going on behind the scenes. So now he's back in Memphis. Don't have a position other than a business he has to run, uh, and probably getting some influence from the court system. Behind the scene, here we are now, Judge Sheila Renfro, a judge, and let me put her picture up here as well so you can know exactly who I'm talking about and the players in this game that got him to be in the position that he did as the coordinator for the court, the General Session Court. And what really gets me about that is that there's so many people who are down there in their court system that know their court system would have been a better individual for that position. But because of the influence, what I'm being told, of his mother, Judge Renfro, she ends up making a recommendation or putting him in the position as it relates to being that coordinator. And I had just had a problem with that. No, that's your mayor that just popped up. That's your other county mayor. So we got them all in this system here, and I'm trying to find Judge Renfro. Yeah, here she is here. This is the judge that has something directly, and you saw it on my Facebook page, uh, Renfro, uh, that has something, a lot to do with it. And the connection comes in between her along with Brian Carson's mother. Now, if Judge Renfro and any other judge decided to give him this position because of political favor, and Judge Renfro, I know her, uh, we was on the campaign trail. She came to one of my fundraisers and we had a conversation. And I know her, but wrong is just wrong. And if Judge Renfro didn't take the opportunity to look at Brian Thompson, and I know she had to know the history of it and what he has done while he was in the position of chairman of the Democratic Party. Now, to me, yes, he was not arrested. He was not tried and convicted, and there he is again. But he was ordered to pay the restitution because of the influence for what I'm reviewing from his mother. She's always been there. And here recently, I saw them, and I haven't put that picture up. They was on News 3 at 3, talking about an upcoming event. Now, anything that Brian Carson, in my opinion, has his hands on, I wouldn't touch it because he's proven to be reckless as it relates to the money that he took from the Democratic Party. So why would a judge, why would a judge, Judge Winthrop, why would she put him in that position or recommending him in that position? And I'll tell you why. It's all about politics. Judge Winthrop has been elected. She wants to stay elected, in my opinion. So she's gathering the wagons, in my opinion, to influence like Gail Jones Carson and others to do things on uh, their behalf. Now, anybody else, you can argue the point, well, she may not have done it. Yes, she had something to do with it because you see it on my page. If you go there and you see her welcoming in to his office as director, as chief executive officer of the courts. Uh, I want to make sure I got it right. He's in that position as executive coordinator for the General Session Court. Now, would you put a person as a judge in office, even if you knew or you didn't know? That says to me you didn't do your homework. You have so many individuals in General Session, I know a bunch of them, that would have been better suited, Judge Renfro, to have that position other than, I can't think nothing other but favoritism. To put a man in here who everybody over the city know what he did, but then he ends up with a position I think would easily be from 60 to $90,000 because of the influence of his mother. And while they was on Channel 3 at 3 with Alex Coleman, uh, he asked her, "How did you get here?" She said, "Well, my son got me here." Well, while they were there, they got to talking about what he was going to do as a part of it. And I couldn't do nothing but shake my head. But I have this platform that I want to bring things to you and put it out there and say, what do you think? What do you think of a judge that put a man that has a, let's say, not a criminal history for that, but had it known that he had to step down from a party because of what he did, why would you put him in a position like that? That's the question that I would ask an individual who has the authority to do that. I would ask you, why in God's name would you put an individual or recommend an individual to be in a position like that? I think that's a problem. I think that people should think before they act, and especially when you are in the seat of power, you should be very careful. Judges are not supposed to be partisan, nonpartisan, but this is not political as it relates to an election. But here's the situation that we have right here, that an individual got a position and he basically took money from the Democratic Party. And I put this out there. There's more to it and more research is going to come and that we can talk more about it. But I have a problem with this. Your son, my son, your daughter would have gone to jail for this action, but because of the political strength and because, in my opinion, the mother and her influence, you can look behind the curtains and that, if it come down and the receipts had to be shown, bottom line, I'll show the receipt as it relates to what went down, what I just told you. And to me, that is not fair for an individual who has worked hard in a position all of their life for 30 years, for 25 years, and 40 years. But a great opportunity comes up. They're not even considered because of the politics. And believe me, at the end of the day, when you get through talking about Brian Carson and this position he got and he received as the executive coordinator of General Session Court, that's all political. Because if anybody in their right mind would have took a resume, would have understood what he has done, he would never be in that position. And the only reason he's in that position, not because of his experience, not because of his work, not because of his job habits, but they're trying to build him up, putting him on this program that's coming up. For me, it's a worthy program. Uh, they're naming a scholarship after a good friend of mine, the late uh, a lawyer, uh, Ricky Wilkins. And I think that's a nice, great lawyer, one of the best lawyers that uh, you could ever find in the city of Memphis, along with others. But he was a great individual and was a good friend of mine. He passed away a few years ago uh, from brain cancer. And we prayed with him, we stayed with him. Whenever he called me and we talked on the phone, um, he came to my house, matter of fact, in this very studio. And we talked and went over some things um, before he passed away. But you're putting Brian Carson in the middle of that, saying that he's a part of something that's noble when he's the biggest crook in town. I'm Jennings Bernard. You're listening to Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. And some of you will be out there, well, yeah, you would do that. No, 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 no. See, my sons understand, just like I understood what my father said to me. He always said, boy, if you go to jail defending yourself, I'll be the first one to get you a lawyer and make you bump. But if you go down there robbing and stealing and killing somebody, you can just forget because I'm going to let you stay down there. But see, this mother thing, and I never understood that. Some people say, well, you don't understand mother love, but mother love can have fault. See, this is not a teaching moment for Brian Cox because behind the scenes, his mama is snatching him out of the jaws of going to jail, then she ain't teaching them nothing. Then you come back and your influence through this judge. And it had to, because the judge didn't know nothing about it. Because obviously, if she knew anything about it, she wouldn't have made that recommendation. And people are calling me and say, hey, so and so down there, you know, she's been down there all that time. She would have been a really good candidate. The problem comes, did they ever post it? Did anybody else know about it? Did anybody else interview for it? So if nobody knew about it, it was never posted in a position like that that can change people's lives anywhere, in my opinion, from 60 to 100,000, somewhere in there. Would you have loved to have that job if you worked down in that system at 201 for over 30 years and you didn't know anything about it and you know everything about it? You know the filing system, you know the court dates, you know everything. And then you hear that somebody has gotten a position that know nothing about the system at all. And who will he look forward to? He got to look forward to that same person that's been down there that's more qualified than he is. And that's politics in Memphis. We're going to continue to stay on this. We're going to continue to do it. And what you could do, if you really want to do it, you can ask your county commissioner. Call him or her and say, how did he get this job? Because I'm going to do it. I'm going to add that receipt to whoever I talk to about it, that if they say no comments, I'm going to bring it back to you. And said, so and so said no comment. Why would an individual say no comment if they had something to do with it, or if they didn't have something to do with it? Why wouldn't they tell you? It's the game being played on you. From hotels to people dying and city. I was talking to someone and they said the city and the county don't have just, I said, hundreds of lawsuits. I mean, they got thousands of lawsuits that the taxpayer, Paul Young, is not going to pay the lawsuit. C.J. Davis is not going to pay for the lawsuit. But these individuals go and put you in a position as taxpayer that you got to pay for. But then, why do we accept that? And you say, oh, ain't nothing we can do about it. No, you're wrong. There is something to do about it if you decide to do something about it. But a lot of you don't want to do anything about it. We just want to sit back and do nothing. And people continue to do what they want to do. And ain't nothing you want to do about it. I'm looking at Paul Young right here. Yeoman that was supposed to be there representing you. Him right there. And look at what he's doing. And you know, everybody's upset about Paul Young and his lack of leadership. See, we have to call these people out. It's time for us to stop accepting this bad behavior that is doing and taking place by Paul Young, in your opinion, my opinion, that we have to show them that it's more about us than it is about them. Paul Young, Lee Harris, the two mayors of Memphis and Shelby County. And none of you are pleased with it because I hear you. And I want you to send me the information that you have that persuades why. And a lot of these things we already know why. That these things are happening to us. But what are we doing about it, ladies and gentlemen? It's going to have to come a time that we step up to the plate and we say, hey, enough is enough. You heard me talk about the influence. And it can't be denied. Brian Carson took the money. He ended up becoming part of the Democratic committee in Nashville. You put him there. Then after that, he comes back. After all of that, he's no better than the guy that got the party. And then turn around and made him the reentry uh, program director. End up taking more money. But if you took money from one organization and then you go through all of that and you come back, see, I have a problem with rewarding bad behavior. And that's what we need to stop doing. That's what we need to step up to the plate and say, enough is enough. When will we do that? When will we get the courage to do the right thing and let these individuals, these influence, these people who have balance and things and tell you that this is who you need to vote for, they manipulate you while they're getting paid. Understand something. If you don't do anything, spread this word. And spread the word to call your county commissioner and find out how Brian Carson got that job, whether the process, whether the bid open for people to come in and show their resume. Or did the judge recommend it, or did the judge do it on her own? All of this is wrong. I don't know and don't care what the process was, but to put him in that position based on his reputation and his history was just downright wrong. Whether it was political influence or whether it was uh, Fran, the good old boy, you picked the wrong candidate. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna leave it at that. I put it out there, but the more information I get about it, I'm gonna bring it back and talk to you because it really doesn't matter to me as it relates to some people say, Bernard, you need to leave it alone. Well, why do I need to leave it alone? Because certain people, when you do nothing, they're not going to do anything to really help you. Think about it. I said to you over and over again, if you think they really care about you, look at your community and the district that they represent and tell me if it don't look like a war zone. Blight everywhere, standing hard, trees dumped, uh, being dumped on your street. And your representative has the power to pick up a phone and say to the mayor, say to the public works department, through the mayor or whoever deal with that, the 311, if you call that number and tell them they're supposed to come out and make sure that that's picked up because you don't care, they don't care, and it's time for a change. Ladies and gentlemen, I really do appreciate you, and I look forward to talking to you uh, anytime. We on the air, and there's a lot of things that we're adding. Um, every politician, every individual that calls themselves an influencer, we'll be able to talk about them and put this post up here. We'll be able to do interviews that we have with them, that we're going to have with them, and be able to post this up. Subscribe to this page right below. Tell your friends to subscribe. A lot of you are viewing this program on a monthly basis, and we thank God for you doing that. But we want to bring you this information, no hesitation, no reservation, uh, that we're going to bring this information and make you go home. Now, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, the question was and is, how did he get that job? And why did he get that job? Based on his record. And when you ask that question, you're going to stop them because when they look at the evidence in Mary, Sally, or Bob, or Jane, who had way more experience, why wouldn't they give him the job or give him the opportunity? But because of politics and favor, political Brian Carpenter got the job, in my opinion. As always, I really do appreciate you tuning in and being a part of this dialogue. In the words of my grandmother, she used to always say, if it's the Lord's will and the creek don't rise, we'll see you on tomorrow. And always remember what I said. Trust everyone, but do not trust the devil inside of you. God bless you. Take care. We look forward to talking to you on tomorrow. Peace.